Welcome to Greenlee Art Space. My name is Kimberly Hawking and I'm the director and curator here. And we're so excited to have you join us today for our opening of a show titled Stitched Together, Creativity in the Time of COVID. And we're really excited to be working again with a group called Quilts on the Wall. And you're going to hear more about them in a few minutes. I just wanted to take a couple of seconds to say thank you so much to my husband for all the work that he did in hanging the quilts and lighting everything. All the little extra things that he does. And my son is running this live. It's nice to have teenagers in the house because they can help a lot with this electronic stuff for us. So we're so grateful that you're here joining us. And we're also grateful to the California Arts Council. They've given us a really nice grant to help us with programs like this, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you so very much. We're going to hear from the president of Quilt on the Wall. Her name is Lori Multipasi. And Lori, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about Quilts on the Wall. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. First, I want to thank Kimberly and David Hawking and the Greenlee Art Space Board for partnering with Quilts on the Wall to create this beautiful exhibit that we have here. I want to tell you a little bit about Quilts on the Wall. We are a textile art group that makes quilts, art quilts. And we are from all over Southern California, as far north as Camarillo, as far east as Riverside, and as far south as San Diego. Currently, we have about 47 members. We are dedicated to learning about art quilting and also exhibiting our work. We meet every other month on a Saturday morning. We've been meeting on Zoom for the past 2 years. But we're hoping in March 2022 to have our first in-person meeting. Our members, if they choose, can participate in 2 or more challenges a year. These challenges turn into exhibits like the one that you're going to see some of it today. And these exhibits show at local venues and then travel all over the United States. They show in quilt shows, textile art shows, and also in art galleries. We've also been lucky enough to have our work featured in magazines and in books. We welcome new people to our meetings, so if you'd like to find out more about us, go on the website, quiltsonthewall.com. We'd love to see you.
Thanks so much, Lori. Really appreciate that. And that reminded me, I need to tell you, in case you're new to Greenlee Art Space, just a little bit about us. We're a nonprofit art gallery dedicated to enriching lives and creating community through art shows like this one. We work with artists from all over the world, and we have usually a big show once a year that's an open call that anyone can submit art to. So if you're interested in being on our mailing list, visit our website at greenleeartspace.org. All right, so I think what we're going to do now is go ahead and take a little tour around the gallery. You're going to see some of the artwork. This art will be up until December 30th, and you can come and see it in person Monday, Wednesday, Friday between 11 and 2, or you can call my phone number, which is on the website. It's 562-533-4020. You can give me a call, and I can show it to you evenings or weekends. All right, so let's get started. Here at the very beginning, we will start with, these quilts are all from 3 different challenges that were done. And the challenges were, this first challenge is called Endangered. That was the challenge from July 2021. And the artists were asked to represent in an artistic manner what was endangered of being lost: a person, place, thing, a right, or idea. So the title of this piece is Vulnerable Beauty. It's by artist Boosie. And this artist says about the work: the monarch butterfly population has been in serious decline since the 1980s. The compromised environment that it inhabits is affected by climate change and the human use of herbicides around the rural roads and farmland. This brightly colored butterfly depends on the native narrow-leaf milkweed plant to survive. A unique capability of the monarch is that it returns to the same location on its migratory flight. There is virtually a GPS in the antenna that makes this possible. All right, moving on to the second quilt here. This is from a challenge that was called It's Not All Black and White, which was done in August of 2020. So about It's All Not Black and White, it challenged the artists to limit their color palette to 90% black and white and no more than 10% of one other color, with the goal of demonstrating how color, even the smallest quantity, powerfully impacts the composition. So the title of this piece is 2020. It's by Charlene Touche, and the artist says about it, my original design for this quilt was supposed to include the words, I'm smiling under my mask. But by the time I finished the face, I realized that I was not smiling under my mask. The world had changed. For me, the face has become emblematic of 2020. It evoked and provoked thoughts and feelings, and the wide staring eyes seem to be saying something. I leave it to the viewer to decide what that might be. All right, so we'll just pan by some of the other pieces that you'll have to come in and see if you want to know more about them. And we'll stop here at this one. This is from the group It's Not All Black and White. The title is Focus, and the piece is by Carol Nilsson. About this piece, she says, I mull over ideas important to me and reinterpret them in fiber. I simplify and reduce concepts to fundamental forms, conveying value and emotion in the fabric's color and texture. Through careful and repetitive concentric stitching, I create a visual meditation on these concepts, with original shapes gradually morphing into new forms before ultimately being exhausted. I try to share a slow, deliberate, and evolving contemplation of complicated ideas with the viewer. All right. This is from the group Endangered, from the challenge Endangered, and the title is Endangered in the East. The artist is Karen Johnson. Cougars are now extinct in most eastern states, and the Florida subspecies is endangered. This is disturbing, as cougars are a keystone species that help support other wildlife in the ecosystem. For example, carcasses from a cougar's kill provide more food for birds and animals than any other predator. Ironically, in some of the 16 states with stable population, cougars are considered a game species and hunted for sport. Endangered in the East is a reminder to protect our wildlife in hopes that the title does not change to extinct from east to west. This is based on a photo by Valerie Abbott and used with permission. All right. Next, we have, from It's Not All Black and White. The title is Hello, Yellow Brick Road. This is by the artist Carol Churchill. And thank you, Carol, for all your help with getting this show together. She was a huge help with this. So about it, she says, I remember watching The Wizard of Oz on our black and white TV in the 1950s. But it was not until color TV was invented that Oz became magical. Rather than a pictorial style, I chose a graphic representation of the yellow brick road, fusing white and yellow ribbons to black borders. I added yellow buttons and miniature yellow flowers to allow the viewer's eye to wander around the black and white flowers. I used many black and white fabrics to create the flowers. Look carefully and you will find Toto. A small black and white TV with rabbit ear antenna provides context. So I actually know where Toto is, but I don't know that I should tell you. You'll have to come in and find it if you want to see it. All right, so we're going to keep moving around the gallery here. Lots of beautiful work for you to come and see. All right, so the next one that we're gonna highlight is from the challenge Endangered. It's titled Grinnell Glacier by Bunny Malden. And it's about glaciers. Glaciers are huge masses of ice or snow that move over land and are the last remnants of the Ice Age. Ice is important not only because we are losing it, but also because it is an archive that has told us much about past climates. This quilt was inspired by a visit to Grinnell Glacier, an endangered glacier in Glacier National Park, Montana. The lines etched into the rocks validate the sad but true story of the eventual disappearance of glaciers from mainland US. Seen with one's own eyes, the amount of ice that has been replaced by water creates a huge sense of loss. All right, and now we're at our first one from the challenge, Fiddling with Fabric. And Fiddling with Fabric was a technique and materials challenge. It was designed to compel the viewer to ask, how did they do that? Look for techniques such as burned, dyed, bleached, or discharged color, torn and ripped, folded, layered, woven, iced, dyed, acrylic and oil paints, pastels and watercolors, and stitched by machine or hand. So discern different fabrics, layered shears, yarns, loose or tightly woven, silks, cottons, recycled and reused. So the title of this piece here is The Koi Pond, and it's by Linda Stone. Koi ponds are very relaxing to watch. This is created from my drawings and original technique of sliced applique between the pleats and sheer overlay to give the appearance of being underwater. The water, lily, grass, and frog are above the water. And we'll continue to move around the gallery here. All right. The next piece that we'll come to is this piece. It's part of the It's Not All Black and White challenge. And the title of it is Hope. And this is by the artist named Janice Willis. COVID-19 has isolated us from family, friends, and our normal way of living as we know it. Many have been experiencing depression and loss of hope. The flowers are a metaphor, dropping leaves and wilting, while one ray of hope, a small green leaf, begins to bud. Okay, next we come to this beautiful piece by Lori Mutalapasi, who you heard from earlier. And she says, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the black-footed ferret is one of the most endangered animals in the world for multiple reasons. These reasons include loss of habitat, loss of their main food source, and dying from various diseases. Currently, experts estimate there are only several hundred of these animals alive in the world. They live in all 8 Western states, Mexico and Canada. Going, gone highlights the plight of this species. Shown is a healthy, colorful, black-footed ferret. We see sick ferrets struggling to stay alive, and unfortunately, lying in the dirt, we see ferrets that have died. Hopefully, scientists can save this animal species. All right, here we have another piece that's from the Fiddling with Fabric challenge. The title is Desert Flowers by Marilyn Gorley. It says, I'm calling my piece Desert Flowers since it was created while I've been here in Nevada, stuck in the desert while we all weather the year of COVID. I love experimenting with things that I've never tried before. And since I'm fairly new at this, there are so many options to choose from. So the technique she talks about, she says, I layered seven batiks, skipped the batting, quilted my design, and then cut away each individual layer until the desired color was exposed. So you can see the cutaways here. I guess it was my inexperienced version of a mola technique. The raw edges and loose threads turned out to be a bit of a nightmare and a learning experience. All right, this next quilt here is also from the Fiddling with Fabric challenge. And the title is My Mother and My Brother. And the artist is Jennifer Beatty. So I'm gonna read about that. Family is important to me. There is great comfort in knowing I am loved and that I am able to love. This quilt is to honor my mother and my loving brother. Using fabric manipulation and surface design techniques, I hope to represent my mother's garden of roses, rays of sunshine, and the love that is so important. All right, we're at our next piece here. We're making our way around the gallery, almost to the end. This piece is titled Vanishing Paradise. It's from the Endangered series, and the artist is Judy Krotz. She says about this work, what do sea turtles, hammerhead sharks, vaquitas, Hawaiian monk seals, coral reefs, and reef fish have in common? The marine animals depicted in my quilt are listed as endangered or threatened under the U.S. Endangered Species Act. My husband, Jim, is a volunteer at the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California, and discussions about sustainability and the plight of our oceans inspired me to create Vanishing Paradise. In the future, viewing underwater scenes like this will not be possible unless we all do our part to save our ocean. All right, we're now with another Fiddling with Fabric challenge. The title of this is Batiquitos Lagoon Life by Tara Patako. She says, I realized how important my daily walks were when we could no longer go on trails in March. The animals came back into their natural habitat. The protected aviary area is primitive and full of life. We walk the trails almost every day and look forward to the wonders that nature provides in its natural beauty. Left to right, all kinds of trees, predominantly eucalyptus trees, pelicans, jumping fish, osprey, coyotes, rabbits, red-tailed hawks, owls, and baby owls. In the center, I feature a distant view of egrets and the large pampas grass and tall reeds along the lagoon edges. All right, we're close to the end of our exhibit. So this piece is part of the Fiddling with Fabric challenge, and the title of it is Fiddle Me A Tune. This is by artist Ann Turley, and about this she says, wonky faces and wonky settings are such fun to create. This guy came about after taking an online class with Deb Weirs, a Canadian artist. She encourages one to let loose and let it happen. Oversized features and exaggerated proportions speak to my whimsical style. Taking advantage of unusual materials added to my joy in creating this piece. He fiddles to his own beat. So the technique for the background, tissue paper and gift wrap was adhered to muslin with gel medium. After drying overnight, it was lightly glazed with acrylic and watercolor paint. Layering begins with tulle in the head area. I used a commercial cotton print of birch trees covered with blue wash for the head and arm. Those brown eyes are paper collaged and torn, then glued in place. A coating of glossy gel medium gives them some shine. The hat is a cotton print, fractured and reassembled in a tighter and more visually pleasing form. Details were added with pen, paint, and chalk. Additional textures, detail, and shadows were added with charcoal and watercolor pencil, then sealed with an acrylic spray. Fusing paper to muslin with gel medium. Glazing fabric with acrylic and watercolor paint, layering tulle. So this one has lots of techniques. All right, this is our last piece that we're gonna feature, but we have a few more pieces in the show. This piece is from the Fiddling with Fabric Challenge as well, and the title is Amalgamate by Karen Markley. So when I think of fabric manipulation, I think of color. There are so many ways to put color and design on fabric, and the results are often surprising, often not controlled, but random results can be good or bad, not always successful, but we learn from experimenting. As for the design, I started with a grid similar to what Joseph Albers would have created in his book, Interaction with Color. I also wanted to create something using a compass. Circular shapes made me think of Galileo, but I could not find any way to tie the two together. Amalgamate means to combine or unite to form one organization or structure. All All right, so we've come to the end of our tour of the gallery, and we hope that we've whet your appetite just a little bit for coming in to see us and to see this wonderful exhibit. I'm so grateful to Greenlee's board of directors just for all of your ongoing support. And also I wanted to thank Zachary Miller, who's helped with all the online posts for us, as well as MailChimp, and he's also been the one who's helped us to get grants. So thank you so much, Zachary. We really appreciate your help. And we're gonna be open tonight from 4 to 6 in person. Masks are required, but we'll have a really great time, so we hope you can come and join us. And if not now, we hope to see you later while the show is open. All right, thanks so much.